I'm Samarth. I'm going to share my journey, how I scored 100 on Lighthouse. So Eric mentioned Lighthouse a couple of times, but just for everyone in the room, Lighthouse is a web auditing tool which checks your website on performance, progressive web apps, accessibility, best practices in SEO. So personally, I tried Lighthouse last year at I/O, where it's kind of similar to that contraption Eric was mentioning, where you put in your website, it blares a siren if it doesn't perform that well. So I put in my website, and the scores are all over the place. Performance, accessibility, SEO, it's kind of okay, but progressive web app and best practices definitely need some love. So just to give you an idea, this is my personal website. It's hosted on GitHub. It's statically hosted, nothing fancy, no server-side code, just a few images and a little bit of JavaScript. So I roll up my sleeves, get through some PWA tutorials, and figure out how to put in an app manifest for an add to home screen experience, get the green lock of HTTPS through some CDN providers because I was using a custom domain name, and lazily loaded the images, which were not above the fold. And whoa, there we go, all green and all 90 plus. So a year passes by, I reach out to Peter, I'm like, okay, I should get up my speaking gig. So I check with Peter whether I can do a lightning talk, and he's like, sure, come up and find me at the event, and we'll wire you up. So just a couple of days before the event, I was like, okay, let me just check, everything's going fine, and whoa, suddenly, what's this? Performance score is dipped to 87. So I just did dig deeper and found oh, I was using a deprecated version of jQuery. Also, the material icons I was loading from Google Fonts, they were kind of slow. And even the image compression, there was a JPEG, which could help with some new recent formats, which were introduced. So I get back, roll up my sleeves, get into coding again, and see that I can use WebP and JPEG 2000, some of the new image compression formats, which do better compression than JPEG, but retain the image quality. Also, I embraced the platform to go beyond the deprecated jQuery version, so I introduce intersection observer, which lets me know when an element is introduced into the viewport. And also the smooth scroll behavior, so that when I click on a link on the navigation, the page scrolls smoothly into the view. Lastly, I use the font face observer to lazily load the fonts from Google Fonts. And finally, I made it, all 100 on Lighthouse. I know this was a whirlwind tour. I've got all the lists of resources that were helpful to me. I'm going to upload the slides on the meetup page, and hit me up with any questions if you have after this talk. So yeah, with that, thank you.